What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and today I'm back to talk about Warhammer 40K, but with a little bit of a twist, because I believe it's been like 2 weeks now. Dune has been out, available to be watched on HBO Max, and if you don't know about Dune, it has a lot to do with the lore and the early beginnings of Warhammer 40K. Some say to the point where GW took a lot of inspiration from Dune to create their world, their mythology, their lore, and after seeing Dune, I gotta agree, it feels like a Warhammer 40k story. Of course, you don't have Space Marines, and you don't have like Tyranids and Chaos Space Marines and whatnot, but word for word, a lot of the things are the same. Like, it's still an intergalactic story. Like, the universe is bound between, planetary travel and stuff like that. And in order to traverse the galaxy, to go into space and find basically warp paths, they need spice. At least in Dune they do. So the navigators need these spices to be able to traverse, to get people, places, resources from planet to planet. And yeah, like, they're called navigators. It's the exact same thing in 40k. You've got psychers with, like, I'm gonna forget the people's names, probably because I don't understand how this is like a sci-fi world, but like people's names are like Jessica and Duncan. Like, that's just really basic in my opinion. But like, all in all, like, it's, you have a hunter killer, not a missile, but it's a hunter killer device that was used. Like I said, there's psychers in here, but they're called like speakers or something like that. Yeah, there's the God Emperor. That's a thing, which wasn't really, like, it was mentioned in the first movie, well, because obviously this is planned to be, I believe, a trilogy. So Dune Part 1, in my opinion, I'll give it a solid 7 out of 10. It kept my interest because obviously a lot of the things are word for word the exact from 40k. And obviously we love 40k, we love the lore of it. So that kept me entertained. They've got good characters for the most part. Spoiler alert from here on out. So yeah, like, a lot of main characters die. Like the Oscar Isaac dude, like the main kid's dad ended up dying. Batista survived, but he was barely in the movie, because he's basically one of the races that's more like brutal, like berserker type. And that's the thing too, though, it's like you don't really get to see too much of what races and species are out there. You're kind of just seeing the two houses, the Batista dudes and the Timothy Chalamet guys, and the people from the planet, whatever it's called, the Sandy Planet. So that's pretty much all you're seeing, and you don't really get too much into it. You know that there's like glimpses into the future of like what if scenarios, like, oh, this is gonna happen, maybe. And then there's glimpses into the past of like, this is what happened, maybe. So you're not really 100% sure what's going on, but they give you enough that you can kind of piece things together. This whole movie felt like setup. It didn't feel like a standalone movie. But again, it's building the universe, it's building the war, it's building the lore of Dune. And from somebody who hasn't read the books, I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more because of the whole 40k aspect of it. But this goes to show you that, like, a Warhammer 40k movie works. Like, you don't have to focus on Space Marines, because in my opinion, Space Marines are too stoic. You don't really get too much personality, too much character to dive in, unless you're talking about the more, like, notable characters. But just a regular Space Marine, he's just too bland to have a whole movie focused around him. Of course, there are exceptions, like I was talking about in A Fort of the Greater Wall. I mentioned Erebus would be a good character to look into. Any of the Primarchs. Malkador would be great. But I think most people would kind of fit with seeing the galaxy, the lore, the world, the universe of 40K through the eyes of a guardsman. Because most guardsmen just see Space Marines and like Xenos as like legends and like make-believe stories. And then once they actually get put on a war and they're fighting against these alien creatures and then they get reinforced by Space Marines, I think that'd be pretty badass. Because you can see, you know, even in the far future of the 41st millennium, like there's still advancements in technology and weaponry, but then you have these demigods of Space Marines, and I think that would work really well in a 40K movie. Speaking of Space Marines, there's really nothing akin to that in Dune. You see them have like their sci-fi suits, which in my opinion look like Power Ranger outfits. They got like force fields and stuff like that, so obviously a few differences here and there from 40K, but like definitely I like the way that the director kind of worked his way around the lore and made it believable and explained it in a way that it made sense without just going into a deep dive. Because of course he has done other great movies like Blade Runner 2049, I believe. That was really good. So all in all, like I said, I give Dune a 7 out of 10. It's enjoyable. The special effects are pretty cool. The story is entertaining enough that'll kind of keep you locked in and wanting more. Now, they did greenlight part 2, but it won't come out till 2023. So we got quite a ways to go from there. And from all the people that I've talked to, they've enjoyed it. Like, nobody's really complained too much about it. The gripe is that, of course, it's just a setup movie. It's not a standalone film. Because you do have a few fights here and there, but all in all, there's no big like drawing like in a sci-fi movie. You have like the beginning, which kind of has like a big fight and kind of draws you in. You have like the middle, some stuff happening, and you have a big fight at the end. That's not really the direction that this movie goes in. But it's intriguing enough that you do get enough action. You do get enough lore build-up, and all in all, it's good. So that leads me to believe that if, you know, GW were to make a Warhammer 40K movie, that they could do well. Amazon, for the longest time, we've had, what was it, like the Isenhorn series that's supposed to come out, a live-action Isenhorn series. That's been in limbo for who knows how long, probably because of COVID. But I mean, they've got good stuff on their hands right then and there. But from what I was hearing as of recent is that they're kind of putting that on hold to focus on the Lord of the Rings series, which I get it. Lord of the Rings is vastly popular and will probably make much more money than some IP that not a lot of people really know about. So once, hopefully, we actually get to see the series for Lord of the Rings, then maybe they'll start to actually get on with this live action 40K stuff. But Isenhorn makes sense, because if it wasn't Acadian's point of view, an Inquisitor is great, because they deal with a lot of things, firsthand. So that's a very interesting narrative that I can't wait to see. But yeah, Amazon's got to pick up the pace. Like, right now you see a new kind of stance that GW has been doing on the 40K IP. They've been branching out, working with Marvel, making comics, making toys, action figures with Bandai. You've got like Monopoly for 40K. So right now it's probably the biggest 40K has ever been. And I think with a show or a movie, that would expand to a greater audience, which means more money coming into GW, more revenue that they're making, and essentially that would mean that there's going to be more things trickling down to the fans, such as more models, better games, better sculpts, that kind of thing. So in my opinion, it's a win-win situation. I have heard the opposite side saying that if 40K gets too mainstream, it's going to get too quote-unquote woke, it's going to appease to the masses, and we'll lose the grim darkness, and it'll become Disney-fied, which I guess I can also see that happening too. But like, we've had Warhammer Adventures where it's like geared towards kids. A lot of the sculpts are losing that grim darkness and becoming more kind of cookie cutter or generic. But on the flip side, you also see some of the grimdark in that as well. So yeah, I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think about Dune. Do you think a 40K movie would do well? Do you want it to branch out to more audiences? Or do you think it should just be this nice little gem hidden away in the shadows of great sci-fi film, movies, that kind of thing? Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. This has been The Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'll catch you then. Peace.